Hello everyone, it's Jill Whalen here with another live video on Facebook and not live on YouTube. Hopefully we'll see if it gets posted there, but I've been posting them there. In fact, if you want to watch old videos, if you're from the Facebook group, sometimes they're hard to find. If you go to youtube.com/Jill Whalen, I believe you can find all my videos there in my channel. So it's a good place to watch them, and you can just set them all to play even. And I have playlists there as well, and other videos that I have done that aren't on the Facebook Lives. But today I want to talk about how we hold ourselves back from doing stuff, because when we start to say there's something we think might be fun to do, or we just want to do, or we're thinking of doing, or something like that. Just we get an idea, we get an inspiration of something we want to do. We want to write a book. We want to, I don't know, it could be anything, right? And then we start thinking about, well, if I gotta, let's just use writing a book as an example. Well, I gotta write a book, then I gotta, figure out what the title is. I gotta, what are the chapters gonna be? What's it gonna be about? How long should it be? And, there's a million things we could think about when it comes to, say, writing a book. But this applies to everything. And there's so many reasons not to do it when we start to do that. What about a publisher? What about self-publishing? I don't know anything about that. I don't even know how to write. I don't, we can go on and on and on about how hard it is to do that thing we're thinking of doing, and good reasons not to do it, right? And this is what we do all the time in life on so many things, even simpler little things than something like writing a book. We do it all the time. We talk ourselves straight out of doing stuff. And that's just silly, right? I mean, not to say that I haven't done it, but when you think about it, it's so silly that we do that, because stuff gets done when we just do stuff. Like, we don't have to think about all of the stuff about writing a book, let's say. We don't have to worry about in the future on it, and all the bigger stuff that might happen later. All we have to do is sit down and start writing in that case. Just start writing, or have an idea of what we want to write about, write an outline. I mean, there's millions of different ways to start a project such as writing a book. You just do it. Thinking about all of the what ifs are just going to hold you back. But it's the same for planning a vacation, doing home renovation. I know that happens to us sometimes. We'll want to say get a new kitchen floor, right? And then you start thinking about, well, if we do the kitchen floor, then we should, let's get rid of the countertops, and then we have to do the cabinets, and then we've got to do, well, we can't just do those things. Then we have to do this and that, and then we're like, well, screw it. This is way too much work. We're not going to do any of it, and it's going to cost too much money. When all we really needed to do was do the goddamn kitchen floor, right? We don't have to think about all these other things. And this happened to us, I don't know, probably 20 years ago. We still haven't got the new kitchen floor because we thought about too many reasons, too many other things, that if we did that, we'd have to do it too. And it's the same with writing a book. It's the same with going on vacation. It's everything. But none of that stuff matters. That's all just BS thinking in our head that we don't have to pay attention to, because all it really comes down to is just starting. Just start where you are now. And, in the case of a book, just start writing. In the case of a vacation, just start looking where you might want to go. Whatever the first baby steps are, that's all we can do at any time is do that. There's nothing, you don't have to be frightened about the big picture. I'm not a big picture person. When if I think about the whole thing that I have to do on anything, it's just way too overwhelming for me. I couldn't, even when I was a kid in school, I couldn't do projects. that if I had to do a project by myself, I could not literally do it because all I could think about was all the work involved and it was too hard for me. Nobody ever showed me just start, just start with a little bit and keep on going from there, and then more bits come and more and more and more. If people had taught me that skill as a kid, it would have been really valuable, because it's just too overwhelming to think of all that stuff, in all the end stuff or the hard stuff. And people do it with their businesses too. I talk to people who want to be coaches, let's say, or some have some other business, and somehow they think they get stuck on one thing. Like, I need to have a website if I'm going to be a coach. They think, which isn't true, and so until I can do this website, then I can't be a coach. And then they, but I don't know how to do a website, or I don't have the money to do a website, or I don't know someone who can help me do a website. And so I guess I can't be a coach is what they say. And that's just ridiculous, because you don't need to have a website to be a coach. You just need to talk to people and be a coach. If later on it makes sense to somehow build a website, it will come and you'll do that. This applies to everything in life, even probably like relationships, asking somebody out on a date, or, worrying about all the things that could go wrong. Yeah, there's millions. But if we just take little baby steps, and just do a little bit, it suddenly we find the whole project is done. And I mean, I can speaking of books, when I wrote my first book, or, well, so far my only book, it was that way too. At first, I just didn't know where to start. But once I just said, all right, that's it, I'm just going to do this, I just started. I went through my blog posts that I had already written, and I categorized them. I decided I would do it about anxiety instead of just a general book. And so I just, the first thing to do that came to me was, well, let's look at what blog posts I already have that relate to anxiety and put those in a group, and then from there, all right, how do these fit together? It just progressed in baby steps. Then once I realized how those posts fit together, I kind of put them in order, and okay, now what do I need to do? How can I fit these together? And then, I would write transition bits that would fit in, or I would edit them, the blog posts that I already had, and then I would realize, well, wait a minute, what I'm talking about here, I've already written about in another blog post that didn't have to do with anxiety, but was something else, because I found myself almost writing something that I knew I had already written somewhere else. So I found that blog post, poked that in, and then, I realized I needed an introduction or something. I think I listened to somebody else's book, and I liked the way they had an introduction. I said, oh, I need to do that for my book. So I wrote that. And before I know it, I only did this, my book was like, 20 minutes here, an hour there. Whenever I just felt like working on it, I did. And if I had probably worked on it full time, it would have been maybe 2 weeks to put it all together. I could have had the whole thing done. Meanwhile, I still haven't done a second book, and I have I have so much content. But it's just, I know when I'm ready to just sit down and start doing it, I will just do it. I'm not really concerned about all the big picture stuff. I just have been not doing it. But you just got to do stuff, guys. Your fears are just fears. They don't tell you anything about whatever it is you want to do. Take the baby steps and just keep moving forward from there, and you will be amazed where suddenly in the end you have a cool thing, whatever it was, a book, a business, a vacation, a new spouse, whatever, a new job even. So that's my pep talk for today, and I will probably talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.